Hey there, and welcome. So, Side Effects is holding a new Houdini art challenge called Mardini, which is starting on the 1st of March. The idea of it is to create an artwork in Houdini based on a daily prompt. That prompt is basically just a theme to base your artwork around. It's open to anyone who would like to enter, and if you do enter, it doesn't have to be every day. Last year, there were prizes for Best Daily, Best Weekly, Best Collection, Best Overall Artwork, and for entering every day. So, as you may know, I won Best Collection in last year's Who Lie Art Challenge, and I've decided to do a daily review video for each day's entries. I'm going to be talking about the winning entries, what makes them so good, and then I'm also going to be talking about some of the other entries. I'll go over what I like about them, what I think could maybe be changed, and how they could have been winning entries in my opinion. So if you'd like me to review your entry, feel free to tag me on Instagram at 9_between. So with all of that comes a bit of a disclaimer. Everything that I'm saying here is my own opinion. It doesn't make it right or wrong. I'm just trying to give a critique that the artist can work from and hopefully something that you can learn from as well. I'm not trying to make fun of or insult or belittle any of the artists. I'm merely just trying to give some feedback in an entertaining way. So let's get straight into it. In third place in the images category, we have this entry by Furuya Takumi for day 28 Earth. They've gone for these sort of artifacts, these lampshades. And at first glance, you have the idea of maybe a shop. So this is a shop front, a storefront, maybe in a sort of small market. And you have these very Asian-inspired lamps. Now, inside of each of these, you have the earth. And so there's a very unique take on the topic here. The main focus isn't really initially the earth. You have more of these artifact type elements. But keep in mind, these artifacts are only found on Earth. So anything that's sort of man-made also fits into the topic of Earth. And we'll see that in some of the later entries, that it's not necessarily about Earth, it's about what's on Earth. And so I find that this is quite an interesting take, right? They've repeated the use of this object everywhere, and there's really good texturing on this, right? If you zoom in, the texturing on this is beautiful. There's these low-level, high-frequency details, and then there's these areas of grunge and wear, and even in the crevices there's detailing. So this is an awesome job in terms of texturing. As for the actual earth, I think it could also do with a little bit of displacement because this isn't actually earth, right? It's a small scale object representing earth. You could have a little bit of displacement or something on here, maybe some volumetrics if you wanted to see more like these are actual small planets. Then you can have it as more of an atmospheric feeling around them. But I love the shot. The refracting and the glass and all of that looks good. Awesome stuff from Furuya Takumi. In second place, we have this entry by Killian L. Bauer, and they've created this raspberry. And this is what I meant when I said that it doesn't necessarily have to be Earth, but it can be things that occur on Earth. And this is just so good. Killian Bauer, I remember that they entered last year. They had some great entries last year for Who Lie. This year they were less active, but this one really is that same quality that I know from last year. The variation in each of these shapes is so good. None of them look the same. You know, there's even this one that's sort of joined into itself. It looks so natural, so organic. They have these hairs somewhat on the surface. That looks excellent. Beautiful detailing in there. It's variation in length, variation in direction, all of that. As for the actual texturing on it, you can see that there's a little bit of bump on here and roughness variation. I could keep talking about the detail in this for ages. There's so many things that they do right over here. This is pretty much realistic, right? Even down to the stem over there, it all looks perfect. So can't fault this one. I think that this is beautiful. I think that the only reason it probably didn't come first is just either because the first place entry is extremely good or because this doesn't align with the topic as well as it could. So I think in terms of execution, it's perfect. Maybe conceptually it's a little bit weak, but I definitely think that there's an argument to be made for it. And I think that this is awesome work by Killian L. Bauer. In first place, we have this entry by Jason Harmon. They've gone for this sort of cross-section of the earth. And we saw this in Burrow, but this time they're showing the growing of this bean. So we have a bean sprouting through the soil. And it just has such a good look to it. There's awesome levels of detail. They have the roots, and everything in this shot is shown in sort of two lights, right? What we see above the surface over there, and what's beneath the surface over here. And so we have roots, and we have this coming underneath the ground over here. All of that looks great. Love the grass over here. It's very light, but there's good variation in direction, in color, and it just generally has a lovely feel. This light that's coming through here that sort of just hits this, it all looks very fresh. It reminds me of maybe a fruit juice ad or something, right? It's very organic and focuses on life on Earth, which I love, and it's in a very subtle way. And they've detailed it in an excellent way. The concept is great. I love that it's not just showing, you know, the top over here, which they easily could have done, but it's showing the growing. It's showing from the Earth, what comes from the Earth. Beautiful. So awesome stuff from Jason Harmon. In third place in the animation category, we have this entry by Tom Miner. And they have this olive tree growing out of this ceramic glass, right? So a very different take on the Mardini glass. I imagine that they used this in an earlier entry and they're getting some good value out of it right now, using it again. But this is really cool. So the one thing that I like about this is that it's sort of in a Mediterranean setting. All of this brickwork over here, it's well detailed firstly, but more than that, it hints at a particular environment, right? Same thing with the color scheme, pink and turquoise. It may be muted in this case, but these are Mediterranean colors, right? That aligns with the topic of having these olives pop up over here. So, you know, the concept sort of flows through the entire shot, which is very nice. They have great detail on everything. The glass, or can I even call it that, but this Mardini sort of vase and the vases in the background both have great detail on them. You can see that there's a bit of bump or displacement, whatever that may be. Color variation, all of that looks great. The actual movement over here is interesting, right? They have it growing out. One thing I might say is that this is a little bit low resolution, and it could do with some minor detail like the rest of it. So a little bit of bump and things would be nice. And then they have these that sort of grow and bounce around a bit, which is a nice touch, right? It doesn't feel too static once it's grown out, which is something that you'll often see. But yeah, they did a great job with making it feel a bit more lively. Awesome work from Tom Miner. In second place, we have this entry by Resilient Picture Company. And they've just got the Earth revolving in space. So they have the sun over here, they have a single light source, and it catches the one side of the Earth, right? It also catches the moon over there, and that means that the other side is in night. So they have this great detail over here where the lights are on in the night time. As it moves over, you can see that those lights sort of disappear, fade away, and you come around this side and you get to see these lights over here. It's lovely. So I imagine that this is driven maybe by a density map of some sort, because the areas of high population seem to have more lights going on. You can see South Africa, I'm somewhere there, Johannesburg. These areas up here in the UK and in Europe, all of those are well lit up. And so they definitely have some sort of map that they've used to drive this, and that's pretty awesome. They also have these good movements in things like the clouds and that. I think that this is lovely. There's so much good detail on the Earth. One thing I would say is that they should maybe consider removing the shallow depth of field, because at this scale, right, this is a massive scale, you wouldn't have shallow depth of field like this. It does make this feel like a miniature, makes it feel kind of small. And even when this thing comes flying around here, this sort of satellite, this feels not much smaller than the Earth, right? It feels like they're at a similar scale. So I'll just say maybe removing the shallow depth of field would help this a bit, but I think that it's so good. The level of detail in this is insane. So great work from Resilient Picture Company. And in first place, we have this entry by Carl Drifter. They have what seems to be glowworms, right? So they have these things hanging from the ceiling. You know, there's these strands and they all move around very slightly. And, you know, it's in this cavernous environment on Earth. They have this shot over here where there's this shallow depth of field revealing the Houdini logo. This is a great choice, right? You do the sort of establishing shot, which shows a little bit far off, but no real detail, right? Then you come in closer to show off the detail. So you have these glowworms, these things moving around, all this life. And then you have the final shot where you show what they're actually gathered around. And it's the Houdini logo. So great use of sort of cuts, right? They cut from this to this to this. Awesome progression. They've made great use of shadow depth of field. In this case, you can see that they have 5-blade shutter. So it causes these sort of pentagons in the light when you have the bouquet, and it just looks so good. They have these little bits of string that catch the light. Looks awesome. Lovely, lovely stuff by Carl Drifter. This one from ILLSQJN. I've gotten these letters down, man. Only took me a month, but now I can remember 5 letters, 6, 8, 7 letters. This is cool. So it's not Earth, technically, I guess, because that's not Earth. But they've done some really cool things here. Color scheme, awesome. I love the split down the middle over there with the 2 walls. Looks so good with the slight variation in color. Adds a little bit of interest. There's minor detail all over the frame of this, the metal frame. And then this over here has such an interesting shape, right? They have these elements where it's sort of a constant ramp. You can imagine it as a constant ramp. I do imagine that's probably what they did. Where if you have a noise pattern that goes from 0 to 1, instead of having it sort of like that as a spline curve, you have it constant, right? So it goes like this. And that gives you these nice little islands and these sort of mountainous regions, and it gives you what seems to be a topographical map. They've chosen a good color to go with this, so they've chosen this turquoise with the orange color, which is really good together. They also have a bit of a surreal feel because this isn't connected. It's these 2 lights that are sort of connecting it. But yeah, I think that this is a lovely entry. Really pretty. And that's from ILLSQJN. Maybe it's Il Squidgen. Maybe I've been saying it wrong the whole time. From Il Squidgen. This one from Carl Kraus, they went for some earth. And they made sure to detail it very well. Lovely detail in this. Awesome stuff. I wonder if that's a Houdini logo. I can't actually tell. I just see Houdini logos everywhere now. But that sort of looks like it. But I don't think it is. Yeah, it's really nice. Good shadow depth of field. It's just what I've kind of come to expect from Carl Kraus. Great rendering. Lovely variation. Look great. I think the only thing would be like a little bit of a pop of color to make this a winning entry. Maybe you could have an earthworm. An earthworm would be cool. Just one sort of sticking its head out the ground. That'd be kind of nice. But yeah, I think it's awesome either way from Carl Kraus. This concept is so sick from Abar. Maybe I'm biased because I made an egg entry as well. But I think it's so cool having the earth cracked open. The only thing that I find a little bit weird is this over here. I can't tell if it's, like the shape seems a bit weird to me. But I do think that it's so cool. If this maybe sort of looked like it was melting, so it's an extremely high viscosity simulation or something, that would be so cool as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just like the concept. If this wasn't in a daily entry, I think this could have been executed in an awesome way. But yeah, like the concept is so good. Peter Okara also made a Akara, not Okara. Ark. Am I having a stroke? Peter Akara. That one. He also did something similar to the other entry from Resilient Picture Company. I really like this whole thing of like having the lights showing. Looks very cool. Just wanted to mention that one from Peter Akara. I think it looks nice. Oh, whoa. That's a pretty sick entry. Not sure how it's done. I mean, is it just points being displaced? I'm not sure. But that is very cool. That's from the Hassan. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they did this one, ensuring that it sort of sticks to the surface. Very good though, from the Hassan. Yeah, bouncy Earth is always cool. I like bouncy planets. They're fun. It reminds me of an entry from last year. It was from Paul Estevez. He made an awesome entry last year. That one was so good. It's like bouncy planets all kind of smashed together. Awesome stuff. But yeah, nice simulation from Jonathan Formosa. The fact that it keeps its volume, it's always good. I think the only issue is maybe just the rendering and that, but nice simulation, definitely. Whoa, that's pretty cool from Brandon McFarland. We are living in a simulation. It's proven. Brandon just proved it. Thanks, Brandon. Oh, reverse Earth. That's nice. Very good lighting and things on this. That's a little bit distracting over there. I say that's the only thing. It's so minor, whatever. But this is very cool. The simulation looks good. It is just playing in reverse. You can't tell. Oh, I think it's, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's playing in reverse. Cool stuff from Rebo Effects. Hans Palacios with Atlas Donkey. That's actually so sick. It's so good. I was coming in here to meme, but it's a really good shot. Such good detail. It's even kind of topographical over here. I'm not sure if that's the case everywhere, but over here it is. I think it's the Andes. Good stuff. Yeah, really nice. Oh, it's Earth Cream. You have to say it like that. You can't say it in any other way. It's Earth Cream. Great Earth Cream. Oh, that's such a cool entry by Tom Knoll. I just wish it was like well fleshed out. I think it was a lot to take on in the time, but if this was like done over a month, right? Like it's a project, a full-on project. You have white water, you have these little areas over here, and you have this guy rafting down. Man, it would be so sick. This could be like an artwork. I might talk to Tom Knoll about this one. I like the concept. Aspen XL, pretty render as always. Ground looks so nice. Wow. I'd say just a little bit of detail on these sort of sprouts, and maybe join them a bit better. It does seem very geometric. Maybe that's what you wanted, in which case that's cool. Very nice, that sort of bounce that it has as well. Lovely. Good stuff. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's so short. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Full duration. That's cool, man. That's really good. Not enough credit given here. This, I think I have to give special mention to this. It's just too good. Like in terms of dynamics and detail and everything, it's awesome work. It just didn't, get fleshed out because it wasn't rendered properly, but I think it's so good. So awesome stuff by Dot Simulate. I think definitely special mention on this. Trevor J, that's very pretty. That's nice. Disco Earth. Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, bye.